We have an update from the daughter-in-law who missed all the red flags. So when she reached out to us, let me just give you a quick reminder so we're both on the same page. She reached out to us after an awful experience at her husband's family gathering. It was so horrible. It made her feel unwanted, unwelcomed. And she's like, oh my gosh, I actually think I missed all the red flags. And now I feel like I'm stuck in the system. I'm now married. We now have a baby. How can I handle a mother-in-law like this? So I'll give you a couple examples just to refresh your memory. She also wants to address some of the comments, and then I will give you her update and some concerns I have about the update. So let me take you back to, we'll start with this party. She was excluded from all family gatherings on her husband's side until they were married. And she was finally included in this one thing, even though other like cousins and stuff would have their significant others come, not married. She couldn't come. She was finally included. And this tradition for this party is that the grandparents will buy everyone plus their significant other 3 presents. $100 gift card, a small gift, and a large gift. And they just kind of do this whole ritual thing. It's a very special experience. She's finally going to be included. She's very excited. And before the event, her mother-in-law says, don't worry about bringing any of your allergy-safe foods. I'm going to cook for you and I will have everything there. I just want you to come and enjoy this experience. She's like, oh my gosh, maybe she's actually going to open up to me. So she was very excited. She gets to the party, walks in. The first 2 people she sees were her husband's aunts, and they just looked at her, didn't say anything, turned around and walked away. So that was the first thing. Then she proceeded to enter the party. They're doing their thing. It comes to be mealtime, and she notices there's nothing there for her to eat, nothing safe, no allergy-safe foods. Her mother-in-law didn't bring anything. It wasn't that she was going to starve. It was just like, definitely, what's going on here? The gift exchange started happening, or where the grandparents were giving everything. She did get a gift card. It wasn't $100. It was $20, but that was it. She didn't get anything else, like none of the other gifts. So basically, she's like, it wasn't about the stuff. It wasn't about the food. It was about the message. Like, they were making me feel so unwanted and unwelcomed. And that's when it hit me, like, what have I done? Like, I missed all the red flags. Like, she's been telling me this from day one, that she doesn't want me here. She doesn't want to compete with her son's attention with me. And I still, was hopeful. And now I'm like, okay, this is my reality. I got to figure out how to deal with it. She is also the woman who, after giving birth to her baby, she came home and she had 2 rules for her husband. Number 1, I'm exhausted, so when I tell you I'm tired, you gotta be the bouncer and kick your parents out. And number 2, do not allow your mom to say the baby looks just like you. You guys you brought that up a lot in the comments, so she wants to address that. She knows that was silly. She's like, I know that was silly. I know that was unreasonable. He can't control that. All I can do to try to explain that is I was postpartum. I had already endured so much with her, and I was trying to think of ways to prevent her from hurting me, knowing that she would try when I was that vulnerable. And if you remember, she did say that, but she added something at the end. She didn't just say the baby looks just like you. She's like, oh my gosh, the baby looks just like you. Then she turned to her daughter-in-law and said, and honestly, nothing like you. So I think she was sharing that. I must have did a bad job storytelling. I think she was sharing that with us to say, like, this is kind of what I'm dealing with. Another concern you brought up was if your husband's entire extended family doesn't like you, maybe you're the problem, just gently trying to reflect back to her, like some self-reflection. And she's like, maybe I am, but it truly does feel like it's what my mother-in-law is telling them, because they've never given me a chance. They've never tried to get to know me at all. I've been excluded for so many years, and I'm there, but they really haven't talked to me to form an opinion. So she truly does believe it is what the mother-in-law is telling them. So, and the last thing was, bringing her own food. She's like, yes, I always bring my own allergy-safe food. It's my problem. I never put that on the host. This was an isolated event where I thought my mother-in-law was trying to do something nice for me, and she just totally just hung me out. Like, she didn't have anything, like not one thing for me to eat. Okay, so now for her update. I run out of time. I've tried to record this so many times, so I have to filter it. But there is a lot here that has happened. The main thing is Her and her husband are now in church-based counseling because the whole family goes to the same church. That counselor also meets with her husband's parents, and so that seems to be going well. She wants you to know that her husband, or the counselor, is baffled by this. Like, he's so baffled by what's going on. He's baffled by how mean the mother-in-law is, and they must have some agreement where they can share some things between sessions, and it's not all confidential, because the counselor has shared that he asked the mother-in-law, why are you so mean, or why are you so rude to her? And the mother-in-law said point blank, she stole my son. Like, all serious. Like, she was so serious. The counselor has asked her, why do relatives ignore her? The mother-in-law said, well, I only tell them the truth, so I don't know. Why don't you ask them? The counselor pushed about that a little bit, but she shut down. Another thing that she has done since this person wrote in last was the mother-in-law posted a Facebook shame post. She said, my mother-in-law posted a photo of my husband's younger brother and his new girlfriend on Facebook with the caption, maybe I'll finally get a good daughter-in-law. This other thing, so these are the things that are kind of concerning for me. They were at a Mother's Day church event. Before this event, I guess the person writing in went through something very, very sensitive, something extremely traumatic. And during that period of trying to process that, her mother-in-law said some hurtful things just to her so that her husband couldn't hear. On Mother's Day, in front of the whole congregation, she loudly said, Happy Mother's Day. I can't wait to see you later. Love you. Then she leaned down so no one could hear her and said, I hope you feel alone. My message still stands. I just don't want anyone else to think I'm a total B. Then she stood up, smiled, and walked away. That is legitimately concerning to me. She also, at the same event, came into the private room, breastfeeding room, came into the private room at church, and she's like, you need to, start putting it in a bottle, or you need to start pumping so I can feed the baby. This daughter-in-law reminded her that I exclusively breastfeed, and then she said, well, then I get to hold your breast while you nurse so I can feed her, so I can feed the baby. Luckily, the husband was right there. He stepped in and intervened. She's like, I'm so glad we're in counseling, but I need to know how to handle my mother-in-law in the meantime. This is where my concerns come in. I am a very sensitive person, but I was hyper sensitive postpartum, and she's still postpartum. She's still within that year window. This doesn't feel like garden variety tension. This feels like a lot. To me, her perspective, it feels like the mother-in-law is out of control. So my question to you guys is, do you think it might be helpful just for her own mental health and protecting her nervous system, since she is trying to exclusively breastfeed and you don't want to stress out because that can take away or slow down milk production? I had that happen to me. That's why it's very top of mind. Do you think it might be helpful if she asks the counselor, do you recommend just allowing us to get a few sessions, 3 sessions under our belt, just to help the mother-in-law get some tools, a different reframe, just to normalize, this is what happens when our kids grow up. They partner up. This is a natural course of development. Do you think that might be helpful? Because I'm worried. I'm worried about this woman's mental health and her emotional health and just stressing out her body while she's trying to nurse. I'm also worried that if this mother-in-law doesn't get something under control, she might damage this relationship and rupture it beyond repair. That's my concern right now. So that's my question to you guys is do you think that you would recommend that? I don't think I could handle the secret whispers to me. That would just feel so dangerous to me. I still recommend your husband, if you continue, whenever you're around your mother-in-law, your husband needs to be right by your side. I recommend Gray Rock. I wouldn't get into private debates. I would let the counselor hold the weight, carry the weight of this. He needs to do the job. I would mute Facebook so I don't see her posts. I would definitely protect my postpartum peace, because I would protect, looking back, I didn't, and I wish I would have, and I would have protected my peace so I would have been able to produce milk. Those are just my thoughts. Finally, I did it without running out of time. Tell me what you guys think, and we'll talk about it in the comments.